You've probably seen this style in Hollywood films. It's warm, it's dreamy, it reminds you of a nice summer day. And in today's lesson, we're going to see how we can get this exact style. So let's get started. I have 3 clips here. All of them are pretty aesthetic, and I will just have to make this look really warm and add a soft overlay that can kind of blur out the edges of our subject and at the same time make it glow. So let's begin by going into our color workspace. So I'm in my color space, which I just customized to my liking. You can do that by grabbing all of these windows around and placing it wherever you want. You can also get rid of them by clicking close panel on this hamburger menu. Grab all of your clips, duplicate them so we can see it before and after later on. Let's begin with the first video. I'm going to go to Lumetri Color right here, and we're going to begin by making everything bright. So exposure goes up, contrast, we want to reduce it and make this video look really soft. So we're not looking to create contrast. Highlights, bump that up. We're going to add to the shadows. The whites, I want to increase that, and we want to lower the blacks. Now onto white balance, we're going to grab the temperature slider, pull it towards the right, just a tiny bit. We're going to do the rest of the warm effect later on in the color wheel section. Add to that saturation, and now we can move on to creative. This is definitely a faded film, so increase this amount. Vibrance, we definitely want bright and vibrant colors. And you can just add a little bit to sharpen. So far it's looking a lot more brighter and a lot more vibrant. Head down to curves and make your S-curve the way you want it. I'm going to lift up the shadows a little bit more. Pull down the midtones just a touch and just leave the highlights be. Now onto the color wheels, which is the most important part. We're going to begin by adding a red color to the shadows. Hold down shadows towards the red side. Midtones can be brought down to like a yellow side. Just pull it up there. Highlights can be a blue color. So this is what it looked like before. Looking pretty cold. After, it's looking a lot more warmer. You can always come back and pump this up. I think I will just do that right now and make this look really summery. There we go. This is before, this is after. Now onto HSL secondary. This style does have different hues for each color. Usually they're very bright, so you can use HSL secondary to alter the way your greens look, the reds, and any other color that you have. I'm going to key out the sky by grabbing one of the droppers, add more to that color range. Looking good. And using the sliders, I can bring out more from the sky. There we go. Blur the selection. And now add a blue color to it so it doesn't look like a flat white piece of paper. Increase the saturation and set the temperature towards the colder side. So now I was able to bring out more of the blue from the sky and make this look more like a summer scene. As for vignette, I want to add towards the right side, so I'm kind of brightening up the edges of the video so we don't get this shadow effect and instead get a brighter look. So with the color grading alone, we completely transformed this video. Now to add that dreamy effect, there are some ways that you can do it. You can either just flatten out the video by blurring it. You can change the blending mode of that blur, or just add maybe a film overlay and make this look like it was shot on a film camera. So that depends on you. I'm just going to move into the effects and grab a blur effect. I think Gaussian blur is the best one. Add it on top Effect Controls, and just blur this out by a tiny amount, maybe 4. So this is just going to blur out the edges of our video, therefore giving it a softer look. So this is before, this is after. It's blurred out just by a touch, and that's pretty good for our summer video. I'm going to go ahead and make this even more flat. Go back to Creative and increase the faded film amount. So this is my first example. Now let's work with the second example where we want to add those glowy edges, which is pretty common in vintage films. Again, begin in basic correction, making everything bright, flat, and vibrant. Add to the temperature. Saturation goes up. Now in the Creative tab, we're going to make this a faded film. Increase the vibrance, sharpen it up just by a touch. And down to the curves, we're going to make this even more flat and create a suitable S-curve. Now onto the color wheels. Here I want to actually add kind of a pink color instead of red. Going with this pink for shadows. Midtones, we can pull it towards yellow and make this look really dreamy and kind of bubblegumish. So work with your midtone points until you get a nice color. Highlights, I think I will go with a slight blue just to balance out all of the colors that we're getting. This is before, after. As for HSL secondary, I want to work with the grass. It's looking a bit too cold, which is not the point here. So key out the grass, starting with the dark colors, and then adding on the lighter colors. Turn on color gray and just work with the sliders until you've captured most of the grass. You can grab the add tool, the add dropper tool, to just add more colors, then remove any unnecessary items with the minus dropper. Once you have your colors centered, we're going to grab this correction and bring the green towards a warmer color, like either yellow, red. Let's turn this off. There we go. So like a warmer color. And this way we can avoid getting a colder grass for this summer video. I'm going to add the same wingy effect we did previously, and now we're done with the basic correction. So to make it dreamy, we're going to hold down Option or Alt, duplicate this right above. You can also hold down Shift while you're pulling it upwards so that you don't misplace it by a few frames. Now on this top layer, we're going to go in with Gaussian blur, effect controls, add maybe like 20. Try a bit more, 30, and then underneath opacity, we're going to change the blending mode to lighter color. Once you have this, you can go back and change the blurriness amount. I think I'll go with 20. And now once I zoom in, you can see we're getting this glow on our subject. So it's before, this is after. Of course, we can alter the amount anytime that we want. And this is what gives the dreamy look to your videos. So you can either go with lighten or lighter color. It depends on which one works best on your video. I'm going to stick with lighten. And now we have this glow on our subject. I'll add 15 for blurriness. And now I'm happy with the result. So that's my second example. Got this dreamy look. The third example, which is actually a vertical shot, I'm going to scale this in first so it fits the screen. Copy the same amount. Now, because we have mostly white in this video, I have the liberty of adding any sort of tint and centering the video based on that. So in the previous two examples, we had maybe grass, we had some fruits that had vibrant colors of their own. But in the third example, because we're dealing with mostly white colors, we get to add any sort of tint that we want. Go to Lumetri Color, do your basic correction. The rule applies to all of these videos. You want bright, vibrant, and flat, regardless of what's in the video. That's the key to these dreamy, dreamy styles. In the creative section, you can just add to the vibrance. There isn't much going on, but it could help with like the tiny bits of color that we do have. In curves, just create your S-curve. Now onto color wheels, I can just, like I said, put any color that I want. But the most areas that are affected is the highlights. So when I grab highlights, you can see that I can just literally make this into any mood. I can make this cold, make it warm, have it look like blue hour, golden hour. It's really up to me. So I'm going to make this, so I want to go towards a more golden hour setting rather than blue hour, just because we said we want warm and dreamy. So choose your color of choice for highlights. Shadows, that's going to affect the little areas. I'm going to set it towards a more pink color. And for midtones, you can set it either to the purple side, the yellow side, or the red side. I'm going to go with a little bit of yellow. Now I have this really warm pre-golden hour look. So it's not exactly golden hour. If you did want to make it look like it was shot in golden hour, you would have to increase your contrast, basically do the opposite. Darken the video because the sun is going down, and maybe darken those shadows. Like we said, create contrast. In the color wheels, you can actually go a step further because when it's golden hour, everything is that dark orange color due to the sun just going down. So you can pull these up further and get more of a deep color. Now I can go in curves and just darken or brighten things up to the way that I want. Now in this example, we don't need HSL secondary because we didn't have much of a color to begin with. The only color in this video is the pears and the little objects that are all around. But if we do choose white, we will grab everything. So if you do want to change the color of the white elements, then you'd want to do it inside color wheels. I'm going to repeat the dreamy look on this one too. Gaussian blur. 20, change the blending mode to lighten. So we have a golden hour look. You can take this a step further and just darken it up, but I will just leave it be. The more you add to the blurriness, the more of that glow you're gonna get. So if you want to make something kind of unrealistic, then you would want to add more to the blurry amount. Of course, as long as the blending mode is set on lighten. But if you want a realistic look, then you would want to stick with a number that is under 20. Zoom right in, and this is the glow that we're talking about. It makes everything nice and soft. I'm going to reduce mine to 10. So those were 3 examples for the warm and dreamy styles. You can use this in music videos, in montage clips, social media posts, and just about anything. You can go ahead and add more warmth and make this look like a golden hour shot. Use less warmth to make it look like a realistic summer scene. So I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson, and I will see you guys in the next one.